he wanted was a voltage tester. But by the time he left, there were police, cell phones, and a man swearing he'd only leave in cuffs or a body bag. And Terrence? He was the target. It was supposed to be quick, a simple errand. Grab a voltage tester. Maybe snag a new pair of wire strippers if they were marked down. Terrence had a job across town later that afternoon, wiring a panel in a duplex on Holt Avenue. Nothing unusual. The sliding doors opened with a mechanical sigh. Inside, the familiar scent of sawdust and motor oil greeted him. Clean, practical, no frills. The prices were written in permanent marker. Terrence liked that kind of place. He nodded at the older man behind the counter and made his way to aisle 4, mentally checking off tools he might need this week. That's when he felt it. That creeping sensation, like being watched out the corner of your eye. He glanced up. An older couple, maybe late 60s, stood near the end of the aisle. The man's face was lined and sun-worn. The woman clutched her purse like it might sprout legs and run off. They weren't shopping. They weren't holding anything. They were just watching. Terrence moved down the aisle. They moved too. He kept his cool. He wasn't in the mood for any drama. Tallahassee had been quiet lately. This was just another Saturday. 10 minutes later, he settled on a mid-range tester. Good grip, decent build, and grabbed a spool of Romex wire too, just to be safe. As he headed toward the register, he heard something. Low, under the man's breath, but unmistakable. They're always up to something. It hit Terrence like a punch to the gut. Not loud, not shouted, but meant to be heard. He didn't stop walking, didn't look back. His grip on the tester tightened, but he kept his breath steady. He knew how things could flip over a look, a tone, a word. He kept walking. Then came the panicked. There he is. That's him. I saw him put something in his pocket. Terrence turned. The woman, Delilah, was pointing straight at him, her voice trembling with a strange blend of fear and drama. The man, Stuart, stepped up too. I told you, he said, raising his voice. You gonna let him walk out after following us? He stole something. Terrence blinked. Excuse me? His tone was even, low. You've got a drill bit in your coat, Delilah shouted. Terrence raised both arms. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Other customers started looking now. A woman in gardening gloves paused mid-step, her phone half raised. A man near the paint aisle looked between them, unsure. Stuart stepped in close. You think you can just walk out after threatening my wife? I never said a word to her, Terrence replied. Voice calm, arms still raised. This is harassment. Delilah whipped out her phone and started recording. He's threatening me. Get this on camera. That's not true, Terrence said, not moving. The young cashier, maybe 19 or 20, stood frozen behind the counter. Her name tag read Maribel. Can you please call the manager? Terrence asked her. Before she could answer, Stuart muttered again, louder this time, clear. You're not walking out of here unless it's in cuffs or a body bag. That silenced the store. But not everyone missed it. A man near the paint aisle hit record on his phone. Maribel heard it too. Her eyes widened. Something in her changed. Stuart squared his shoulders. Terrence stepped back slowly, not out of fear, but calculation. He wasn't giving this man what he wanted. I came here to buy tools, Terrence said. That's it. You people think you can do whatever you want. Stewart barked. You looked at my wife like a criminal. She was following me, Terrence replied. I was reading labels. You were lurking. I was standing under a fluorescent light, comparing testers. And if you think I stole a drill bit in a t-shirt with no pockets, then check the cameras. No one needs cameras, Stewart sneered. We saw you. Then a voice spoke up from the paint aisle, the guy with the cap. Calm but firm. He didn't do anything. I've been here since they came in. They were the ones watching him. Delilah's face twisted. Mind your business. It is my business, the man replied. Now, from the far end of the aisle, a woman in an apron dusted in sawdust crossed her arms. She's lying, she said. I heard her switch the story twice already. This is a private matter, Delilah snapped. You made it public, the woman said, and I don't like liars. Stewart turned purple. Everyone gangs up when we tell the truth. No, Terrence said, voice steady. You picked me out the second I walked in, and now that it's unraveling, you want to spin it. Delilah turned to Maribel again. Call the police before someone gets hurt. Maribel's hand hovered under the counter. Her breath was shallow. Her eyes never left Stewart. Then Stewart's hand went toward his coat pocket. Terrence saw it. What's in your jacket? Terrence asked, loud enough for everyone to hear. None of your business, Stewart shot back. You said I wasn't walking out unless it was in cuffs or a body bag. You better mean that metaphorically. Dennis, the assistant manager, stepped out from the back, clipboard in hand. What's going on? Delilah pounced. He threatened us. He stole a tool and said he'd hit me if I told. Dennis looked around, looked at the phones, looked at Stewart. Sir, he asked Stewart, did you just threaten someone? He's dangerous, Delilah yelled. You made the claim, Dennis said sharply. We'll back it up with footage. Then, sirens. Loud, fast, getting closer. Terrence stayed still, calm, because he knew one wrong move and it wouldn't matter what the footage said. I'm telling you, he's dangerous, Delilah screamed again. But Maribel wasn't frozen anymore. She was watching. She was listening. I don't want to be recorded, Delilah shouted at the guy filming. Not illegal, he replied. Not in public. Not when you're threatening someone. The officer arrived. Two of them. One spoke into his mic. Maribel raised her hand. I hit the panic button, she said. It's not what it looks like. What happened? The officer asked. Delilah jumped in first. That man! He followed us, threatened us. I think he's hiding something. Terrence raised his arms. I have nothing on me. You can check. Ask the people here. Check the cameras. The man in the ball cap lifted his phone. I got it all. He stayed calm. They were provoking him. The woman with silver braids stepped forward. They lied, loud and clear. You're taking his side? Delilah got. No, she said. I'm telling the truth. Dennis added. Our cameras caught it too. He did nothing, but that man right there, he pointed to Stewart, made a clear threat. Let's review the footage, the officer said. But Stewart, being led toward the back, turned to Terrence. You'll regret this. Terrence didn't flinch. Not from fear, from restraint. Because he knew. One twitch, one raised voice, and the headline writes itself. The second officer stayed behind, asking questions. Delilah kept talking, loud, angry. I'm the one who felt threatened. We were just shopping, and he kept circling us. I never moved toward them, Terrence said. I stayed on aisle 4 for 10 minutes comparing voltage testers. Dennis confirmed. We've got it all on tape. The officer turned to Terrence. Can you stay a little while? We'll confirm everything. I'm not going anywhere. The woman with the braids touched his elbow. You did right. He nodded, thankful. Maribel stepped forward, still shaken. When he said the cuffs or body bag thing, that's when I hit the panic button. You probably saved lives, Terrence replied. I kept my hands visible the whole time for a reason. Dennis stepped in. You kept your cool. Most wouldn't have. Terrence glanced outside. One officer was now leading Delilah into a patrol car. Cool don't mean I wasn't scared, he said. I've got a niece same age as Maribel. I thought of her the whole time. Maribel whispered, they looked so normal, like grandparents. That's how it is sometimes, Dennis said. Another customer stepped up. A young man in a work vest. I work at the tire shop down on Mercer. Got it all on video. Appreciate that, Terrence nodded. The second officer returned. She's in the car. We're booking her. Her husband, too. What for? Delilah cried. I didn't do anything. You made a false claim. Loudly. On camera, the officer said. Delilah stepped back, then bolted. Ran right through the doors, into the parking lot. One officer chased her. The store fell silent. The ball cap guy shook his head. She thought she could just run away from that? Dennis sighed. In 30 years of retail, I've never seen anything like this. Terrence looked at Maribel. You okay? I didn't know what to do. But when he said that line, that's when it got real. That's why I never flinched, Terrence said. One move, and it's all over. Dennis nodded. You did everything right. He turned. It was the man in the ball cap, phone still in hand. He's still here, the man said. Stewart. He never got in the car. He circled back. And just like that, the story wasn't over. The arrest wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Because sometimes the most dangerous wounds are the ones you can't see. The handcuffs clicked shut, but the weight didn't lift. As Stewart was loaded into the squad car, still spewing fragments of a justification no one believed. Terrence stood at the edge of the parking lot, arms folded, heart pounding. It was over, or at least it looked like it was. But the tension in his chest hadn't let go, not yet. Inside the first cruiser, Delilah sat stiff, eyes darting, but no longer smug. She wasn't yelling now. She wasn't smiling either. And for the first time, she looked up, right at Terrence. No apology. Just confusion, like she couldn't grasp how her story had unraveled. That expression, the disbelief that her lie wasn't enough, hit him harder than the threat itself. The footage was already being logged in the back office. Dennis stood silently as the officer played the video. It showed Terrence calm, browsing, Delilah pointing, Stewart hiding, the knife. No escalation from Terrence, just restraint, just truth. This is more than enough, the officer said. DA has already been called. They're moving on it. Back outside. Terrence was still by his truck when Harlan, the man in the ball cap, approached. They're taking both in. Just figured you should know, he said. Thanks, Terrence murmured. I'm not even sure what okay feels like anymore. Harlan leaned on the truck's fender. That's fair. The store doors opened again. Maribel, nervous, walked out with her phone. I told my mom what happened, she said. She cried. But she said she's proud. You should be too. Terrence told her. You stood up when it mattered. Maribel smiled faintly. I'm writing about it for my journalism class. Good, he said. Tell the truth. It matters. But as he drove away, hands still shaking on the steering wheel, he knew the truth isn't always enough. Sometimes it needs an audience. Sometimes it needs noise. When he got to his next job site, he didn't even get out. Just sat there, trembling, thinking, letting it all catch up. His brother, Javian, texted, You good? Saw something online. Looked like you. Terrence just replied, Yeah, I'm that guy. But typing wasn't enough. He called, and for a while they didn't speak, because there was too much to say. Then, Javian finally asked, You could have died, man. You didn't even do anything. I know, Terrence replied. You going to talk to someone about it? Terrence looked at his own reflection in the dashboard. Maybe. Yeah. That night, after seeing twisted versions of the story online, something inside him cracked. He was never the kind of man to go live. Never one to share. But this was bigger than him now. He opened his laptop, hit record, spoke. No filters, no edits, just truth. I'm Terrence Braxton. I'm an electrician. I went to a hardware store to buy a voltage tester, and I almost didn't come back. He told the story, raw, unfiltered, how it escalated, how people stepped in, how silence could have cost him his life, and how strangers who chose to act saved it. I'm not sharing this for likes. I'm sharing this because too often these stories end differently. And the only difference? This time, people spoke. He posted the video and walked away. Yes, it was scary, but it was worth it. Because being calm doesn't mean you're weak, and telling the truth, even when it shakes your voice, is the bravest thing you can do. In the end, it wasn't about Stuart or Delilah. It was about every voice that stayed silent until now. So when the world saw his video, when strangers from other towns, other cities, other lives stood up and said, I see you, he knew something had shifted, not just in him, but maybe, just maybe, in the world too. If this story moved you, don't let it be just another video you scroll past. Stand up, speak out, be the witness someone might need one day. Subscribe for more true stories that matter, because silence never changed anything, but people did.